We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright when the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us red. What time is that coming over you? You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is a Q&A. I've not done one of these for a while and just thought with us not going out after the match tonight that I could get back in and do one of these and keep an eye on the Manchester City-Liverpool game as well. Liverpool leading by 2-0 in that game. Newcastle, of course, winning by 4-3 against Nottingham Forest. And it was an easy game at first, wasn't it? But the second half, dear me, how that really was a struggle to watch as a Newcastle United supporter. Not sure what Eddie said at half time, but there certainly was no juice in the Newcastle United engine. Certainly some players looking as if they were going through the motions at times. And just awful. And I was struggling to see what Forest had changed. Had Forest changed anything? Did they make a tactical change, which maybe threw Newcastle a little bit? But it really looked, in all intents and purposes, as Newcastle just couldn't get out, motivate themselves to play in the second half. The first half, of course, Newcastle went a goal down. A goal really which came from their own making, a terrible wayward pass, which became almost Newcastle's trademark in the game. A terrible pass, gave it away, and the Forest go all the way up there and score and put us 1-0 down. Then a wonderful strike by Miley, slightly fortuitous, was it? Who knows? There might slight defection. I've not seen the goal back since I came away from the stadium. But then just a Newcastle United Jekyll and Hyde performance. Dr. Jekyll was put away, Mr. Hyde came out, and we got into a wonderful 4-1 lead. And I think most of us were scratching our heads as to how it had happened. But I think, Des has nailed it in the chat. The result was positive. The second half was awful. John, good afternoon. He says, lucky to get away with that shocking second half. Our players switched off and thought the game was over. And I think that's half the problem. You know, literally, people just felt as if the game was done, as if the game was won, and it wasn't. And as soon as they scored that second goal, I was really surprised that Forest didn't bomb on. I mean, Forest, when they took the lead, sat back as well, which surprised me. They didn't try to catch us on the counter, and they allowed Newcastle to get back into the game. And ultimately, you know, it was just a weird second half. No deflection. Cheers, John. Through 2 sets of legs. Yeah, it was great. It was a great goal at the right time. But second half, terrible by Newcastle. Not a great deal we can say about it. Don't forget, Q&A. Get your questions in, and I'll do my best to answer them. John Spence, you can see why we are conceding goals. Shaw and Byrne are terrible, plus Miley and Willock before Tonali. Don't think so. Well, this Tonali situation was strange, wasn't it? Oh, let's have a drink, 2 seconds. Tonali situation was strange because every man and his dog got a message last night to say that Tonali wasn't going to play today. And that was the talk of the pubs and clubs and restaurants and cafes before the game, that Tonali was injured. So somebody somewhere let the cat out of the bag that he wasn't going to start or he wasn't going to play. I think we preempted the Nick Pope decision on this show. Certainly I have said since Dubravka signed the contract, I expected that Pope would get back in now, because, you know, we got beat off City last week. Nobody deserved that place after that. Anyone getting dropped could have held their hands up and said, right, okay, fair enough. But I always felt that once Dubravka signed the contract extension that we would end up with Pope back in goal. And I can feel the nervousness in the stands. I don't know what the players are like, but I can feel the nervousness in the stands when Pope's in goal. I'm not blaming him for today. I tell you what I felt with Pope, and this is my opinion, but I felt Pope slowed play down today. Pope doesn't kick the ball unless he's got to, and he picks it up and rolls it out to people. And I almost feel like it slows the play down. So I don't know. Is that the blame for the second half performance? No, I just think there was a lack of effort from people. But you're saying Shaw and Byrne, John. Byrne had a really decent first half, but I think the standout player in the first half was Joe Willock. And he didn't play well in the last couple of games. So Joe Willock owed us one, I think, and he certainly repaired us in the first half. Second half, he died off a bit. Shaw, I would certainly say Shaw is taking more risks than Byrne. Shaw plays people into positions. He plays the team into trouble. Crossfield balls across his own box at times and dropping people in it. And we saw a bit of that today. That was the point I was trying to make. Fabian Shaw, Lewis Miley, Lewis Hall, Bruno, all culpable or to blame at some point during the game for giving a wayward ball which went straight to a Forest player. It's a good job Forest weren't as on the ball as normal. It really was, because that really could have backfired on us a lot more than it did today. But yeah, I think there's a few players, John, not just Shaw and Byrne. Tom, good evening. Why does Howe always sit back and defend a lead when we have a bad defence and a brilliant attack? Good question, Tom. I would love to have been a fly in the wall, as I'm sure all you lot would have at half time. I'd love to know what Eddie Howe said. Surely he didn't say sit back. Surely he didn't say that. I doubt he would have said don't put any effort in either, because that's basically what it felt like. It felt as if players were going through the motions, and they hadn't really had to go through the motions in the first half. It just looks as if we give in at times. It looks as if we can't be bothered. It looks as if we cannot be bothered. And I'm sick of reading Bruno's tweets on after the match about got to play better, saying that the crowd got them through. I mean, it shouldn't be like that. The team shouldn't need us to motivate them when they've got Champions League football, in their hand. They've got a cup final and a potential cup win in their hand, and they've got, a decent run in the FA Cup now. So, they don't really need that. You shouldn't be relying on us. You should be doing it yourself. But I'd be surprised, Tom, if he said sit back and defend the lead. I really, really would be. And none of us know that he said that, because obviously none of us are in the dressing room. And Terry says that. How do you know it was Eddie's instruction to sit back? In my opinion, I don't think it was. I just think some of it's just like a collective laziness, Terry. That's what it feels like. It can't be, well, the job's done, that's it, lads. It can't be. I just think it's a mental thing. There's just something that's not right about it. It is strange. John, good evening. Never mind the quality, feed the width. Could this be our luckiest season ever? You know what, John? I get where you're coming from, because we have had some games this season where we've just flown along on the seat of our pants and managed to get a result. Last season, we were bedraggled with injuries. This season, we've just managed to find a way, haven't we? That go back to the early part of the season, we were picking up points and we were playing terribly. So, John, you may well be right, mate. You may well be right. We needed to win today with the Liverpool game on Wednesday. And I don't know about any of you, but going up to the game today, I know I predicted a 2-1 win this week. But when the rumour started to circulate about Tonali, I didn't have a good night's sleep last night. And I certainly didn't feel confident going into the game. And as I took my seat today, I felt about as nervous as I would be on Derby Day. And I think my mindset was, we lose today and we lose on Wednesday. That's it. We're looking at Europa and if that, and we'll go into the cup final on the crest of the slump. But it was a vital win by all costs today, and we did do that. So, Stephen, good evening, and great 3 points onwards and upwards. Graham, good evening. Age of a few is most definitely catching up with a few. Plus Pope makes us also nervous. 3 points though, job done. Few. Yeah, and we're giving these players contracts, Graham, as well. I can't be the only fan who's thinking, this isn't a sign, is it, for what we've got ahead of the summer? We are signing these players and giving them a 1-year extension just so that they've got some value when we sell them. Please tell me that's what we're doing. Please tell me we're not going to go another summer and with a minimum spend and rely on these players again. Because if you're telling me that we've got to rely on Shaw, Byrne and Kraft, next season without any new players coming in, we can't be doing that. Surely we can't. We shouldn't resign Shaw. He's playing awful. Derek, Shaw's not having a great run of games. I agree with you 100%. And he's, as I say, he's to blame as a few others were of passing the ball. Almost like this kind of Liverpool of the 1980s way of playing, stroking the ball across the back four. But we're not getting the ball to our players. We're giving the ball away. And that's the problem. That's the issue that we caused our own problems today. The first goal came from that kind of error. And it is worrying. The Nick Pope situation in goal is a concern as well, because it alters the way that we play. It certainly does. Has Dubravka done anything wrong to lose his place? Last week, yeah, everybody was to blame for a 4-0 defeat against Manchester City, but was it solely down to Dubravka? I don't know. We've got two goalkeepers who, they aren't the greatest goalkeepers. That's the issue, and clearly that's why we're trying to bring in Trafford for the start of the season. With his excellency apparently over, do you think you might take the opportunity to speak to the Forest hierarchy regarding future legal strategy? Forest were even singing corruption. I don't even know if we communicate with other clubs, John. Do we? I mean, His Excellency was, if he was here, he didn't arrive until today. What is his purpose of being here? Is this just one of his annual visits because it ties in with other things that he does? And do we have good relationships with other teams, John? With other hierarchies? Do we have good relationships with them? I'm not so sure. I mean, obviously, these people do see each other in the director's box. But would they be speaking about that? Who knows? I mean, maybe it's something to talk about. Maybe it doesn't. How did Forest vote in the last vote? I think is the question. That'll tell you whether they're friend or foe. But yeah, Forest were singing corruption. I don't know how on earth there was only 3 minutes stoppage time at the end of that second half. The first half, referee got it spot on. Second half, 3 minutes. When it's 30 seconds per substitute, how many substitutions did Newcastle make? How many did Forest make? And then any stoppages that you had. Yeah, I think that's why Forest were singing corruption. I think they were very annoyed about that. And there was a few dubious calls. I mean, the letter of the law, it was definitely a penalty that Alexander Isak, tucked away past Matt Sells. But, I hate seeing them given. I really do, whether they're for us or against us, because, that ball was blasted at at him and he couldn't get out the way. I hate that rule. I really do. Maybe that's what Forest was singing about as well. Darren, hi Steve, very happy with the win, but how do we just fold in the second half? Not looking forward to Liverpool. Fold in the second half, Darren, and we're conceding. We love to concede an early goal at the minute. For some reason, we're not switching on quick enough. As I say, that second half, which I've discussed at the start of the show, it is such a strange way of attacking the second half. My dad turned to us today and said, 4-1 up, it's difficult to motivate yourself in the second half. But should it really be difficult to motivate yourself? It's a top of the table game. It's a game, two teams chasing Champions League football. Surely that shouldn't be difficult to motivate yourself for that game. I don't know. Maybe there's something I didn't see today. I'll have to watch the game back. Was there a tactical change? Was there something that Forest did that threw us off our kilter? What was it? I really don't know. But I genuinely felt I felt with Pope in goal, I felt we were more negative from the back. I felt we slowed the game down, and I think that affected our rhythm moving forward. Certain players, again, didn't cover themselves in glory. Fabian Shaw, you've all mentioned him in the chat. Jacob Murphy probably didn't have a great game today either, although he picked himself up when we bizarrely went on to get 4 goals after Forest had scored. He played his part, but wasn't the greatest. Just wasn't his greatest game. And Dave says he isn't good enough. Isn't good enough for him. But he wasn't the only one. Yeah, you're right. Look, we should be celebrating a 4-3 win against a team that's chasing the Champions League alongside us. It just didn't feel good. It wasn't a convincing performance. And we saw both sides of Newcastle United today. We saw the Jekyll and we saw the Hyde. Dean, God knows, mate. I really don't know. But we've been predicting it on here all week. We've been saying Nick Pope will come back in. Do we know Eddie Howe too well? Do we know that Eddie Howe's, do we know Eddie Howe inside out? I don't know. It's just such a strange situation to see Nick Pope back in. And did Dubravka do anything, to be dropped? I don't know. I really don't know. Sign of a good team to play poorly and grind out 3 points. I mean, John, that's one of the oldest adages in football. I get where you're coming from, but I don't think any of us are feeling confident at this moment in time going into Wednesday's game and then Liverpool in the cup final. Playing like that against Brighton is going to be tough next week as well. So, ultimately it's, I don't know, football, as well as having fit players and having good tactics and being able to outthink the other teams. The flip side is, of course, having a little bit of luck and being able to grind out results. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be complaining, but I think you all know where I'm coming from. Pope's always been Eddie's number one. It's weird how he's been turned on, in my opinion. I don't think people are turning on him, Dave. I just think people are seeing that he's not as good as he was. Maybe. I think that's the problem. And, we had that wonderful season with the back four, which virtually played every game, and Nick Pope was part of it. But has Pope come back as good a player as he was when, before the shoulder injury, Dave? I think, and people are quite rightly questioning his kicking. And it is slowing us down. He does slow us down. I do think that affects the way we play. He slows us down. And I do think that the defenders are slightly more irrational when Nick Pope's in goal because they don't have the confidence that they have maybe in Dubravka, because Dubravka is probably a better sweeper and better with his feet. It's the same old story, David. If we could combine the two keepers, we'll probably have, near enough the keeper that we want, but we can't do that. Yeah, Darren, we don't know why Eddie dropped him. Miley's goal was clean as a whistle. However, Isak's second and Murphy's were deflected. Cheers, BRB. yeah, we're spot on about Murphy. There's limited choice for any longer term. Will be better. You're right, John. Yeah, and Harvey Barnes came on, and of course doesn't like playing there. And of course, you know, I saw about as much of Harvey Barnes as I saw of Chris Wood today. Chris Wood, of course, I always like to have a joke on about Chris Wood, and you know he's chasing the Ballon d'Or this year. But he's, you know, he was anonymous today. Newcastle at least managed to keep him quiet. Elliot Anderson, again, didn't see a great deal of him. Had it clear, could claim an assist from the corner. Everyone claps him on the corner, and then it leads to a goal for Nottingham Forest, which was pretty awkward for him. But he got a decent reception. Matt Sells, not the greatest of games. That was the Matt Sells that we probably, you know, saw at St James's Park. To be fair, he didn't have his greatest of days. Pope's positioning for the goal, oh dear. Yeah, John, I mean, there was one moment when Pope did come out and punch the ball, which was great to see, but it was that was few and far between. And again, I don't have the benefit of the replays. It's difficult to see the screen from where we are. And to be honest, the goals will catch up with them on the TV later on, but it was, yeah, his positioning isn't great either. Did someone predict 4-3 on Friday, Steve? Yes, it was Mitch. I think it was Mitch. It was definitely Mitch. If it was Friday, Mitch said winning by the odd goal and 7 is what he said. So he was right. Nick Gilchrist, good evening. He says you've got to question why it took several minutes to give the penalty. Very clear arm raised away from the body and no doubt in the box. Well, I mean, anybody who watched it on TV, I guess, will be able to give a better description as to why that happened. It seemed to take an eternity, but it was clearly a penalty. I mean, you know, the letter of the law stipulates if the ball hits the hand in the box, then it is a penalty. Derek Sharp says, I'm very concerned by the lack of adaptation in the second half. I know how fans will protect him, but again, he fails to change when things are not going right, a very concerning pattern. Yeah, I mean, the first substitute, Derek, I think it was around about the 69th minute, wasn't it? And I think that was the worry. The substitutions did come slightly later, and did they make the game better? Did they change things? Well, Barnes certainly didn't. Tonali came on and did what Tonali does. Didn't look injured to me. So was it a tactical decision? Was he thinking about Liverpool on Wednesday, and was that the reason Tonali was rested? Who knows? Only Eddie Howe knows that. But yeah, the penalty situation, definitely a penalty, but why it took so long, God only knows. Davey Eddie, good evening. He says, I've not seen us give the ball away at home like that in the second half. Their keeper doesn't make a save. It brings in massive pressure. Okay, we got 3 points, but do that at Anfield and we'll, yes, I know exactly what will happen if we do that at Anfield. Yeah, one of the lads turned to us today and said that's the worst second half he can remember this season. I mean, it's got to be up there. Certainly wasn't a positive performance, was it? Wasn't at all. We need more depth. Asking the same 11 to play at full intensity game after game isn't sustainable. What positions would you upgrade immediately, Steve? I'd still bring in a goalkeeper. I'd love to see a different centre half come in. I know we've still got Botman, who will, hopefully be back by next weekend. And a good old fashioned midfield right winger. That's we need that, and another centre forward, because Callum Wilson, is not the answer to Alexander Isak going off. He come on and had a cameo again today. Could have had a couple of goals, if things had gone a little bit differently. But got to go for the spine of the team, Blue Rhythm Boy. We've got to bring goalkeeper in. Sounds like Trafford's going to be the man. Another centre half, younger centre half, quick centre half, to eventually replace what we've got. A right winger, because we're overloaded in central midfield, and a centre forward. 4 players minimum. And obviously others will probably go, so we need other players to come in. But for those 4 positions, all the way through the spine of the team for me. Pope's kicking was woeful, says Blue Rhythm Boy. Dubravka's a better keeper than Pope now. Things change. Yeah, they can do. Yeah. And do we think Pope should be used as a make weight for Trafford? Derek, I think it's a possibility. My thoughts on this whole thing is, I mean, obviously it hasn't been confirmed yet. The press are really going heavy on this Trafford and Newcastle story, saying that the financials have been agreed. Craig Hope put it out there on Friday, as well as a few others. But when you think about it, could it all depend on Burnley getting promoted? Burnley aren't guaranteed their Premier League place yet. What happens if Burnley don't come up? Do they want to keep a hold of Trafford? Does Nick Pope, if he is to be linked with Burnley, is he going to want to go and play in the Championship? A lot could depend on which division Burnley are in. Burnley could end up in the playoffs, and that's. I think that's all to play for. The only way that Newcastle will guarantee it is if they signed a pre-agreement, I guess. But nothing has been said along those lines. Just lots of people seem to feel that that's the situation, and that's what's going to happen. And Trafford is going to come to Newcastle. So we'll just have to wait and see. Lewis Hall, excellent today, says Dave. Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't panic, does he? He dug people out. He dug people out a couple of times today. He's certainly up there for player of the season. It's him. I know Dan Burn has had an off period, but Dan Burn has still had a really, really good season. And Tonali and Isak, you're pointing at those four and saying they've probably been the most consistent when they've played. But Lewis Hall, had a good game today. The back four seems to lack confidence in Pope. It's what I said before, isn't it? It just genuinely feels as if there's a level of concern in that back four whenever Nick Pope plays. It's just a strange situation compared to Dubravka. Man City carved apart again, 3-0, and that's it, isn't it? It's all over now. 3-0 to Liverpool, and they literally just went through like a knife through butter. Curtis Jones with the third goal celebrates in front of the Liverpool fans. Darren, who will be on the fans forum tomorrow night, not a great day. A lot of missed passes, defence all over the place. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Darren, we can only really celebrate the result, mate. The fact that we got 3 points, and we needed 3 points today because the 3 points in the bag going into the Liverpool game are very important, and especially with a couple of results going our way over the weekend. Andrew, good evening. He says, decent first half. Good 11-minute spell. The rest awful, passing abysmal. VAR is checking a possible offside on that third Liverpool goal. If that is off, it's by a fingertip. Curtis Jones, of course, just put Liverpool 3-2 up, but looks like it could be. Looks like it might get chalked off that, looking at that angle. Sorry, I did start early, folks. I wasn't 100% sure what time I'd get back in, and I just thought I would start now as the Liverpool game's on, so we can watch it together. Dubravka isn't better with his feet, but he's a keeper, not outfield. Yeah, Dave. I think a lot of people would agree that a goalkeeper is a must, I think, moving forward. Liverpool's goal, he's got to go to the screen. No, VAR has chalked it off. It's still 2-0. Curtis Jones' goal chalked off for Liverpool. Man City 0, Liverpool 2. Wasn't surprised at all by the second half. We're not quite a genuine quality yet, but we've got to take advantage of top 5 finish. It's massive financially, and that's what it's got to be about now, says John. Yeah, look, John, we've come a long way in a short space of time. I know lots of people in the chat don't like to hear us say that, but you know what we have, and we're complaining about beating one of the teams around us. We've just done the double over Forest, who have had an excellent season. So, win by hook or by crook, I guess, is what we've got to do. Toonami, good evening. This is first half, excellent. Second half, absolutely awful. I say it time and time again, how in-game management is a massive, massive issue. And Miley did play well, to be fair, didn't give the ball away. Probably once I can remember, Davey certainly crossfield ball straight into their players' feet. Didn't do it on a regular basis, Davey, I'll give you that. Hall was really good, though his stats were excellent. Haven't had a chance to look at any of the stats yet. And Dave, yeah, you're right. It was as if they thought it was wrapped up in the first half. They did get complacent. Okay, halfway through the show, we'll have a quick ad break. I'll be back after this. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email them at beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. You can find them at their website, media-arts.co.uk. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and your other podcast providers. If you want to help support the channel, hit the thumb up, which is the like button. Click share to share to your other social medias. Click join to join the channel. And click the subscribe button. We've also got links in our description for buy us a coffee and to be a Patreon member. Some events coming up. An afternoon with Sir Les Ferdinand, 6th of April, 12 till 4. Tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. No Covers takes place at the Clooney, Lilac Lane, Ryder and the Chris Norris Band. Tickets from theclooney.com or by telephone 0191 230 4474. An evening with Steve Howie and Steve Watson, hosted by Joe Allen, takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 27th of June. Tickets for that are from newcastlelegends.com. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House on the 23rd of January 2026. Box office 0844 246 1000 or website tynetheatreandoperahouse.tv. An evening with Bad Manners takes place on Friday the 30th of January 2026 and tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainers 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, available from newcastlelegends.com. And don't forget, the memberships are back on the website now. nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk is the website to go to. You can get your lifetime membership, or you can take out a yearly membership and get your goodies, your pen, your keyring, your fridge magnet, your badge, your beer coaster, and your NUFC Matters membership card. Get yourself onto the website today, nufcmatters.co.uk. And don't forget as well, if you want to drop us an email, you can do now at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. If you've got your first match, we're looking for people to send their first matches in for the Amigos on a Friday night. It's got to be at least a paragraph. Give us a good old story about your first game at St James's Park, and we will feature them on a Friday. But don't forget the website, nufcmatters.co.uk. Lots of comments coming in. Shez, good evening, says, we weren't entitled to win this game. We made the kind of mistakes that cost us points, and we won despite that. For me, we've won an ugly game, and that's a good sign. It's a kind of grit we need. John as well, trying to stay positive. Facts are that we've just beaten a third place team who are having a great season. Glass half full. Andrew says, too many games, our midfield struggles, gets bypassed, and Eddie won't bolster it with an extra man. It's no wonder our defence is getting so exposed. Good win, but awful in reality. And Jason suggests that we might have been involved in more 4-3 games than any team in the Premier League. Yeah, I've been to quite a few of those as well, Jason. Davey says, I would mention Wilson, not in a good light. He needs to move on. Got a feeling we'll offer him another yearly contract. Time to go for me. Score the winner in the cup final, then see you. Yeah, a lot of these players getting an extra 1 year. Some people suggesting it's because they want to keep them for next season. Some people suggesting that it might be to help get a fee when we sell them. We will wait and see. Blue Rhythm Boy says, would you bring back Dubravka? Pope's kicking was poor. Wind playing havoc. Yeah, it's a good point, Blue Rhythm Boy. The wind was awful walking up to the ground. It did drop when the game started, mind. I don't think the wind affected that game drastically, to be fair. But would I bring Dubravka back in? Honestly, now, would he be my cup final goalkeeper? Yes, I would play Dubravka instead of Pope, 100%. Do you think Bruno should be sold in the summer, says Derek? His displays this season have been disappointing at times, bringing a younger player who can develop with Tonali. Miley, maybe. We're getting back to that kind of transfer window and do you sell your best players? I just think Bruno hasn't. I don't think Bruno has been able to cope with a captaincy. I think giving Bruno the captaincy was the wrong thing to do. I don't think he's a captain material. There's no leader on that pitch at times. I know they say that they've got the players committee and there's a team full of captains, blah, blah, blah. But I genuinely think it's affected Bruno more than anything else. And I don't think it's been great for him. Today, Bruno, he didn't stand out, but he didn't have as bad a game as he has, this season at times. Would I sell him? I'd keep a hold of him. I'd still keep a hold of him, Derek, if we could. I think we've got to build your team around your Brunos, your Tonalis, your Isaacs. Certainly got to keep a hold of those players. Craig says, I think it's because we've got one eye on the final. As soon as we're under pressure, we stop playing, don't want to get injured or get cards. I really hope that's not the case, Craig, because, honestly, players should be focused on getting into the Champions League as well. I guess the owners would certainly feel like that. It's financially better for the club being in the Champions League than it is winning the Carabao Cup final, although all we want to see is a trophy. Young Miley has a shout to start over Willock quality performance today. Willock was good today, but that's the difference. Bruno sat deep, so it was a different midfield today. A different midfield gave Willock the freedom, and Willock revelled in that. Willock was man of the match in that first half for me, 100%. 100%. Willock was the best player in that first half. Died off in the second half, like everybody else did, disappeared. Commentary mentioned some people leaving before the end. Did you notice that again, Steve? Around me, the same old faces left. There's one guy leaves on 74, 75 minutes. It's become a running joke where we are. I don't know where he goes and what he does. There's no reason to leave on 74, 75 minutes. And bearing in mind as well that lots of games spill into 5 or 6 minutes overtime, extra time. You're talking about 20 minutes he misses, and he always goes downstairs at half time 5 minutes before, and he's missing 25, 30 minutes a game, which I find bizarre. But en masse, there was a lot of people left at 4. There was a lot of people leaving at 4-2. So that when the third goal in, they missed that third goal that Forest scored. But I wouldn't say it was like huge amounts of people leaving. Certainly not, Stephen. Title race done now, Steve. Arsenal losing yesterday's game. Liverpool looking like they'll beat City. It's all over this game. Can't see Man City getting back into it at all, to be fair. 67 minutes gone, still 2-0 to Liverpool. Title race well and truly over, 100% made. Roger, thanks for the super sticker, mate. Very kind of you to donate a couple of quid. Thank you very much, mate. And Nathan saying that Bruno's not a natural captain, subsequently struggles when Byrne doesn't step up and missing J7 and trips. Yeah, it's a big problem, isn't it? It really is a big problem, the captaincy, I think. I think we need somebody else in that role, somebody to come in and really take it by the scruff of the neck. Really do feel that's what we need. Love the way Miley's coming along. He looks like he's learning off Tonali, becoming a silky midfielder in the future. You know what I like, Doug? He scores goals. He's not bothered. If he makes a mistake, he dusts himself down and continues. But he scores goals, Doug. And midfielders who score goals, do well. For us, we need a midfielder that's going to get with 10 goals. Yeah, that's what you need. Bruno doesn't score enough goals, Doug. One of his major deficiencies. But if you could get Miley regularly in the team, banging, 8 to 10 goals in a game, 8 to 10 goals in a season, a game would be great. No, but 8 to 10 goals a season, that would be fantastic. Chris Cooper, I saw your message there, mate. Yes, sorry, mate, my bad. I forgot to send you the link. I will send you the link tomorrow, mate, and hopefully you'll be able to get on. It is always first come, first served, Chris, on the fans forum. So, try and get in early if you can. It is 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Wilson went for the Hollywood finish, not the team play we want. Open goal for Gordon. Yeah, Nicholas, you're right, mate. Gordon again, seemed to like dip in and out of the game, and at times he just looked shattered half the time. I don't know I don't know what it is. He just doesn't seem to have a full 90 minutes in him at the moment. That's just the way it looks. Anderson was amazing. What a bargain, says Jeff. I wouldn't say Anderson was amazing. Like Chris says, sorry, Steve, Willock was terrible. Brings no end product. The team doesn't work hard getting back. You know what, Chris? Normally I would agree with you, but I just thought today he was the better. He was the better Willock. He was the Willock that we know and love. He created mayhem, which got us back into the game and got us 4-1 up. But like everybody else, he disappeared in the second half. I'd struggle to say anybody other than Lewis Hall is man of the match today. But I just felt that Willock in the first half played well. Watch it back, Chris. I think you'll see what he did. We should be hungry for Champions League football, says Craig, but there's no other explanation for us to stop playing. Yeah, it's just lazy-itis, mate. That's exactly what it is, lazy-itis. Tom, great question. What sort of team would you play against Liverpool on Wednesday to get a result? This is the sticking one, isn't it, Tom? What do you do on Wednesday? What do you do? Do you pick a more inexperienced team on Wednesday because you know you're not going to win the Premier League? Do you go for your Longstaffs and Barnes, and do you play the players that are not going to play in the cup final, and your Crafts? Go for a team and chuck them all behind the ball, 11 behind the ball, and essentially frustrate Liverpool. They'll probably still manage to beat us, but just really chuck them off the scent as to what on earth we're going to do in the cup final. That's the big question. Or do you go your full 11 and try and beat Liverpool and play them at their own game? I really don't know what Eddie's going to do. I certainly wouldn't play the same team that I'm going to play in the cup final. I would just go and bamboozle them and frustrate them a little bit. But watching this Liverpool team, it's a difficult game. It's a difficult task, whoever you put out on Wednesday, and it's a really difficult task in the cup final. It really is. Difference with the cup final is it's a one-off occasion, and we've been there before. It's not as if we're going to our first cup final in 20 years. This is a cup final. We were there a couple of seasons ago. We know what the occasion's like, and we have a chance of being able to go there and, win a trophy. You never know. But it'll be interesting to see what he does. But yeah, I would play a different team. Are Liverpool the only genuinely quality side in the league? If we can kick on and have a really good transfer window, which is about time, there's probably now to fear next season. The league is so different this year, John. This season has been a season of freak results for everybody. We're all capable of winning games, but also capable of getting tonked. And those teams in and around the Champions League race, ourselves, Bournemouth, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, have all in recent weeks won comfortably 4 or 5 goals to nil, but then lost 4 or 5 goals to nil. There's no logic in it. Absolutely no logic. So I would say Liverpool probably the only consistent side. They're the only side that's got the consistency right. I wouldn't say they're the only quality side in the league. Arsenal have been unlucky with their centre forwards. Not having a forward to play is, it's down to their transfer policy, and they've literally just been caught with their pants down now, and they've lost, having to play Marino up front yesterday. It's Liverpool's league to lose now. But I wouldn't say that they're the only quality side in the league, but they're the most consistent team in the league, and they deserve to win the Premier League. Tom, I think we'd all take a draw on Wednesday night, mate. Lots of people with medical trouble have to leave when it's quiet. Loads of reasons. Yeah, Nicholas, I'm not. I think there's a lot made of people leaving, mate. I think there's a lot made of people leaving the ground. I think it's more when there's a bad result. Newcastle aren't playing well. There's a lot of people just leave, and it's got nothing to do with medical stuff. They just leave. They're wanting to get rid of the booze. I've got plenty of my mates from the Felon, Nicholas, if the game's not going right, they'd rather be in the pub having a pint than sitting in the cold watching Newcastle play. It's just the nature of the beast. Everybody's different, I guess. Gordon looked shattered when we were making the substitutions. I thought he was going to go off and Barnes play left. Yeah, I don't know what it is with Anthony at times, but you know, that's part of the frustration, isn't it? They're right back with his shadow had Gordon sussed quite often. Yeah, maybe it's a heads down thing when he's not getting his own way. Maybe it's not tiredness. It's a bit of that instead. Darren says, Steve, just like to thank you for what you give to us with your great podcast. I know you're a busy man and would love to meet you one day. Darren, no problem, mate. Get yourself along to the Summer Do, the Steve Howie one. If you get yourself on Wowcher, you'll be able to get tickets for that. It's our dementia. We're doing a dementia do for Age UK. So if you can get yourself along to that one, it's always great as well. You'll meet so many of the people who you regularly chat to in the chat. People make an effort to come from far and wide as well. All the admin come. It's always a great day or a great night whenever we do it, and we're always raising money for a worthwhile cause. And as I say, this week I was appointed as an ambassador for Age UK North Tyneside's dementia section with Joe Allen. So we will be doing a lot more for them over the next few months. Either way, getting back to the Liverpool game, we won't be showing our hand because Botman and Joe Linton won't be fit, says Craig. Yeah, I would really be surprised if we don't see Botman next week. I think he'll play against Brighton, but I don't think he'll play against Liverpool. But you never know with Eddie, do you? Davey Eddie says, Stevie, it was a really good first half. Shocker second, as he said earlier. It's inconsistent. It's got us all scratching our heads. Yeah, we should all be happy, though. I mean, I've got to be honest. I literally was dreading the game today. I've never felt as nervous before a game for a long, long time. I didn't even go for a drink before the match today because I wouldn't have been much company. My mind was literally on the game. And I got to the ground. I was, I sat and watched the lads warm up as I usually do. And there's people are coming in, oh, what's your prediction today? I'm going with this, I'm going with that. And I said, well, I predicted 2-1 on the broadcast, but I'm feeling like we're going to get beat now. I genuinely just got myself like into that kind of mindset this morning. Absolutely crazy, really. But, you know what it's like as a supporter, everybody. It's awful at times when you get yourself into that kind of mental mindset that it's all going to go against you, you know. Champions League is a requirement, Ian, yeah. It is financially as well, but it's to keep a hold of our players. I thought Murphy kept losing the ball. I would have hooked him. Then he goes and scores. Jeff, he didn't have a good off. See, that was the difference. I thought Willock played well. I thought Murphy was terrible. Yet Murphy gets the goal. But yeah, there was one or two who didn't play it as well. Another Anfield 4-3. God, Roger. I was at both of the other ones. I don't think I could take a third. It was great to see the chairman at the game today. I didn't see him, Tom. I know that he was coming though, but I mean, be interesting to see what he has come to discuss. I mean, he only comes to a couple of games a season, doesn't he? So maybe this was just one of his annual trips. John says, if we win the Carabao, would you take a 17th place finish? I know a bloke who would. John, the kid next to us, said, would you, if you could win the Carabao Cup but you didn't win another league game, would you accept it? Of course you would, John, because you want to win a trophy. You wouldn't be happy about it, would you? But you want to win a trophy. Winning a trophy is the be-all and end-all for us. I think, lots of us are getting a lot older and time is ebbing away and you just want to see Newcastle win something in your lifetime. Lots of people who we know who've been, born and passed since Newcastle last won a trophy in 69. So, yeah, it would be nice. I'd take a draw now. Lots of people saying that. Eddie got the tactics wrong second half, trying to hold a lead at home. Why didn't they just bloody go for it? Yeah, Barry, it was frustrating, mate. It was frustrating. As I say, I'd love to have known what Eddie said. I haven't seen his post-match interview, so I don't know what he said afterwards. But, there was clearly a message given, and either Newcastle didn't listen to it or they listened to it, and that's the end result. There are some good managers in the league. See some great tactical battles. You do that, Jeff. Barry, he may have gotten through the tactics wrong, but he adapted in real time and won the game. The scoreline proves that, and credit where it's due. Shares, you're certainly flying the Eddie flag tonight, and I can understand why we did win. Liverpool will rip us apart if he gets the tactics wrong against them. We've seen it, Barry. We've seen it this season. We've seen it, people winning games, and losing games by equal margins. You know, it's a funny old season. Are you worried about lack of momentum leading up to the Carabao final, Steve? I would have been if we'd lost today, because then you could only say you can only say you're defeated at Anfield, the way that Liverpool are playing and the way that we're playing. Yeah, you don't want to go into a cup final losing lots of games, do you? But we've been stop-start like everybody around us. I mean, look at Chelsea. Chelsea were going great guns, and now they can't buy a win. Aston Villa were struggling with the Champions League and the league like we were. So, yeah, I mean, you will be worried if we get beat on Wednesday, we've got to bounce back against Brighton, and you win against Brighton, you're into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. There'll be a buzz around the place again. So, yeah, I would have been if we'd lost today. Still down to the players on the pitch at the end of the day. Doesn't mean Eddie Howe got it wrong. He may have, but it's down to the players to make it reality, says Jules. Please hit the likes. Thank you, Tom. If the players are scared to try, Steve, because they're worried about their place for the final and they shouldn't be in the squad for the final, I'm not even sure it's that, Barry. I'm not even sure it's that. A lot of the press reports are suggesting, they constantly ask, are the players got one eye on the final? Have the players got one eye on the final? But in the grand scheme of things, only the players know whether they have or not. It's they all want to play at Wembley, of course they do. But yeah, I mean, it's that kind of reverse. It's that reverse, isn't it? If Eddie Howe will be looking at a player, if he sees a player's not putting the effort in, he's not going to pick them for the final, is he? So they've got to play well, mate. They've got to play well. So I don't think that comes into it. I think it's a media thing, that I really do. Chris, thank you. He says, love what you do. I don't think you get the credit you deserve. It's a lot of work. Massive respect, pal. Thank you, Chris, mate. Thank you. Much appreciated, mate. And thanks for your support as always. This team, based on that second half, will not beat the Scousers. No, Barry, they won't, not based on the second half. Denise, good evening. She said, I think we played well first half and not second. None of us thought it was going to be easy, so no surprise. We won and fought well to get 3 points and fought well to keep it. Willick was good. Okay. And Anfield 3-4, says Roger. Chairman's here for 4 days, isn't he? I've got no idea what the chairman's whereabouts are and what he's doing. Nicholas, good win. Let's not forget USA Chris, great lad. R.I.P. Yeah, Nicholas, he was a great lad. I'm not sure if you've seen the show, but we paid tribute to him when and we did manage to meet up with his parents when they were here, which was fantastic. Nice to see the PIF signs around the stadium time with the huge sponsors require, says Ian. Yeah, they've been there a few weeks now, which is good. And Blue Rhythm Boy, no wonder you're bald after decades of following Newcastle, tearing your hair out, Steve. Bet you've no fingernails either from biting them over the years. Yeah, dear, yeah. Your hair does tend to drop out watching Newcastle, mate. It's the stress. You're right there. Given that the goal difference may be important, scoring more goals is important. You're right, Jeff. I didn't watch the boxing, Roger. It's weird, isn't it? Because I'm not involved in boxing anymore. I'm not as keen to sit and watch it. I'll pay for the big fights and like Fury. I watched Fury Music, but yeah, I didn't. Nothing in that card last night really tickled my fancy or got me interested. And I know that might sound crazy, but I just wasn't interested in Smith against Boazzi and Bivol. It just didn't interest me at all, Roger. So I didn't watch it. Simple as that. I had a few documentaries to catch up on, which I managed to achieve. The second reason our second half was frustrating was our inability to keep the ball, give the ball away 30 yards out, and there's your pressure. It was surreal at times. It certainly was. Stephen Kennedy's joined us. Good evening. It's all about winning and winning style every week. Just going to happen. And I'd happily play any other team in the Carabao. Liverpool is the trickiest fixture possible this season. Just our luck. Keep the faith. Yeah, well, I would agree. Zippy says, sorry, Steve, I joined late. You may have moved on. One of Pope's strengths in the first season was his long throws, getting us on the attack. Maybe after his shoulder injuries, he can't do it. Yeah, you know what, Zippy, that's a great point. When you watch his distribution of the ball, he always throws it. He's always done that. But I never thought about the distance of it. I just think, Zippy, and I mentioned it before, I just think that the defense, I think he slows the game down. I think he unnecessarily slows the game down. So when the momentum is flowing and when Newcastle have got them on the attack, I think he slows things down. And I think part of it is the kicking, He clearly can kick the ball. I just don't understand as well when the players pass back to him, because it creates that nervousness in the crowd, and maybe not with the players. Maybe the players don't feel nervous, but it just feels nervous. We feel nervous, you know. Blue Rhythm Boy. What was his business? I've got no idea what that is, Blue Rhythm Boy. No. Is that an old case, Blue Rhythm Boy? No idea, mate. No idea. It's not the Freddie Mills thing, is it? From back in the 60s, which is an infamous story. Steve, after that display, will Dubs or Pope play against Liverpool? Well, I think Eddie Howe wants to play Pope in the final. I think Dubravka might play Wednesday. Who knows? Who knows? I'd play Dubravka until the end of the season now, Barry. I really would. We're in the final, says Ches. We've got every chance to earn a trophy as much as Liverpool. We didn't get there by accident. Support our lads. We've earned our spot in the final. Anyone can win, including us. I'm going to take us to win on penalties, Ches. I think that's our big hope. Keep it tight and get the penalties. We need to stick together, people. We'll get to the top eventually. Yeah, you're right, Chris. It's a lack of professional attitude. We should expect to get the final every season, says George. Interesting. And sounds like a strong keeper, Barry. Dubs of hope. I don't think players have got one eye on the final, says Denise. I don't think our players are that basic. Howe chose the best team available and changed it to give us a lift in the second. And again, we won. Lots of positivity in the chat tonight. That first half today shows how good we can be. The second is what scares me about this side. We all like Jekyll and Hyde. Jules says, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I don't count us out of the game before we've even stepped on the pitch. Blows my mind that we've got every chance in every game. Good point, Jules. Bivol versus Better Bev. Fight was fight of the year. Real top quality from start to finish. Glad you enjoyed it. Pope was fine. Distribution was good. He has redeemed himself, says Jeff. You're in the minority, Jeff, on that, I would say. 98 in the chat on YouTube. 450 watching on Twitter. Please jump onto YouTube, search NUFC Matters and hit the subscribe button. It is free. We do 7 shows a week. That was a must win today. A huge points difference to Forest. If we'd lost, they are one of our main competitors, says Gary. Wilson is looking fitter, Barry. Yes, certainly looking fitter. I think that's his game now, coming on last 15, 20 minutes. But he's not going to play 90 minutes. I would be surprised if he ever plays 90 minutes again, Barry, put it that way. Let's get back to a Kevin Carr, get big hoof into the 6-yard box. We've got the best striker in the Premier League. Nicholas, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, to be honest. Shez, Barry last time had nothing to do with this time. We've got experience, we're hungrier, and we know we deserve it. That counts more than anything. Last time I was looking, this time is our time. Shez, I love your confidence. You should pass a bit of that on to Barry by the sound of it. He still looks shy of match fitness, says Roger. Okay, folks, I've done an hour. Great to spend tonight with you. I'll be back with the Fans Forum tomorrow night live at 6 o'clock as the embers of the game, Liverpool against Man City, comes to its end. It looks like 2-0 to Liverpool as they take another step towards the title. Don't forget as well, if you haven't already, get your memberships. They are on sale. nufcmatters.co.uk is the place to buy them. And if you've got anything you want to say, bring up a point on any of the shows, nufcmatters8092@gmail.com is our email. Get in touch with us there. Thanks everybody for watching. See you all tomorrow night. Enjoy your Sunday evening.